The Lukuala swamps. They stretch across the territories of the Republic of Congo, Zaire, Chad, and the Central African Republic. This is one of the most unexplored and dangerous places on the planet. The swamp's ecosystem has remained unchanged for 60 million years. It was untouched by the Ice Age or the landscape changes caused by continental drift. It's always humid and hot here. There are almost no human settlements nearby. Due to the inaccessibility and dangers hidden in these jungles, people rarely come here. In the modern world, there's hardly a better place for surviving dinosaurs. And of course, they are allegedly seen here repeatedly. According to local tribes, a giant animal with a long neck lives in the water. It comes ashore to feast on cocoa pods from the trees. Organized searches for Mokele Mbembe have been conducted since the mid-18th century, but the prehistoric monster has not been found. In 2023, an international team of scientists from the Eye of the Jungle project went to the Lukuala swamps. For several months, drones monitored the area around the clock, and their cameras with artificial intelligence detected even slight movements. But even high technology did not help find either the dinosaur or its traces. Until recently, it was believed that all giants were destroyed by an asteroid. It crashed into the Earth at a speed 40 times the speed of sound. The collision sent 15 trillion tons of ash and debris into the atmosphere. The Earth was plunged into a night that lasted about 1.5 years. Then tons of rocks rained down from the sky. Acid rains poisoned the water in rivers, lakes, and seas, destroying everything that couldn't burn. Ash that reached the upper layers of the atmosphere, heating up under the sun's rays into the atmosphere up to 200 degrees Celsius. This thinned the ozone layer. Cosmic radiation increased. Plants on land either burned or died from lack of sunlight. Animals that were lucky enough to survive the first days of the apocalypse died en masse from starvation. It seems the chances of survival both in water and on land were zero. Life on the planet had to start from scratch. But no, among the inhabitants of the late Cretaceous period, there were successful adapters. Horseshoe crab, a strange creature vaguely resembling a crab, lives in the shallow waters of the Far East, Southeast Asia, and the Atlantic coast of North America. Its relatives appeared on Earth 470 million years ago and survived 5 mass extinctions. The horseshoe crab is an arthropod that is much older than not only dinosaurs, but even fish. They are among the first inhabitants of our planet. Paleontologists often find fossils of ancient horseshoe crabs. Living fossils are almost indistinguishable from them externally. The same massive shell and tail spine. When these animals come ashore en masse during the mating season, it seems they are countless. But alas, the old-timers of the planet are now on the brink of extinction. Horseshoe crabs are caught for food, used to make fertilizers and animal feed. But the most valuable is their blue blood. It costs up to $15,000 per liter. All because of a valuable protein used to make tests for checking the sterility of operating rooms. To emphasize the antiquity of horseshoe crabs, they are often called dinosaurs. But do these arthropods have anything in common with ancient reptiles? How interesting was this neighbor to the dinosaurs? But after the meteorite impact, it could well have become part of their dwindling menu. However, horseshoe crabs alone could not have been enough to save the dinosaurs. Recently, scientists concluded that the cause of the mass extinction of dinosaurs was not an asteroid, but hunger. It began on Earth 10 to 11 million years before the global extinction. Ceratopsians suffered the most from these changes. The body length of these horned vegetarians reached 9 meters. The distinctive feature of the species was their frills and hooked beak. 80 million years before the global extinction, 15 species of these reptiles inhabited the planet. 10 million years before the asteroid impact, their numbers decreased to 2. The meteorite was merely a certain catalyst. In principle, by the time the meteorite hit, such giant sauropods, apparently, were no longer around. Some sauropods existed, but not that large. Dinosaurs, long considered the main victims of the catastrophe, survived it better than many. Moreover, they did not immediately lose their dominant position in the animal world of Earth. Scientists suggest that those who could fly were the luckiest. The ability to travel long distances in search of food and avoid predators gave them huge advantages. Small size has turned out to be an equally important factor. There is a theory that only small animals weighing up to 25 kilograms managed to survive. So hunters of living dinosaurs are in vain, looking for giants. If we talk about surviving dinosaurs, we are now surrounded by dinosaurs that survived. And indeed, actual dinosaurs. We see dinosaurs every day, eat dinosaurs, keep dinosaurs in cages. Who are the dinosaurs that survived into the 21st century? Do they have anything in common with the ancient giants? Can they be used to create a real Jurassic Park? And why are these ancient creatures particularly interesting to humanity? American scientists Edward Cope and Othniel Charles Marsh, competing for the lead in the number of fossils, did considerable harm to each other and to science. Nevertheless, thanks to them, 142 species of dinosaurs and large mammals were discovered and described. One of the main reasons was the two world wars. People were not concerned with bones. Then dinosaurs were declared an evolutionary mistake, a group of unrelated animals. The idea took root in the scientific world that the giants were too dumb and clumsy, so they could neither survive nor leave descendants. Largely due to the small size of their brains, the reptiles never became intelligent beings. The renewed surge of interest in these fossils was called the dinosaur renaissance. It was caused by new conclusions from paleontologists. Scientists discovered that dinosaurs were quite active animals, and all because their metabolism was somehow closer to birds than to reptiles. Research on ancient bones began to use tomography, and the appearance of fossil animals during their lifetime began to be reconstructed using computers. It took a century to test and substantiate the hypothesis put forward in the 19th century, but paleontologists were only able to definitively prove its validity in the 21st century. Here is one of the mammals of the Jurassic period. Castrocauda, a creature the size of a cat, weighed less than a kilogram. It lived and hunted in the water like a modern otter. And this little Volaticotherium, resembling a flying squirrel, vanished without a trace from the face of the earth. Is not related to any of the non-existent species, but perhaps the least promising for developing into a rational being was the charming Lidovoi. This insectivorous animal, the size of a rat, had the tiniest brain among its contemporaries. And then, when a huge, terrifying meteorite struck them and they all perished, it ushered in our era, and dinosaurs became reliable sponsors of science. Scientists acknowledge that interest in them draws public and investor attention to paleontology. One could say that ancient reptiles themselves are solving the funding issues for further study of their history. One of the largest specimens of Tyrannosaurus in life reached almost 13 meters in length and weighed about 9 tons. And in 2019, a fossilized Tyrannosaurus footprint was found in China. But the powerful legs and tracks of the most aggressive and strong animal of its kind today. An amazing resemblance, isn't it? These are the distinctive features of the Guangdong Tao chicken breed. The leg circumference of an average rooster reaches 4 centimeters. The birds are considered a national treasure of Vietnam. Their huge legs are not the result of selective breeding. This strange variety of chickens was discovered 600 years ago already in this form. Nothing about their genetic ancestors is known. All birds in their structure generally resemble dinosaurs. They have essentially what dinosaurs should have, that is, legs, a bipedal way of walking, meaning they move on 2 limbs. They have front limbs that are free and have gradually transformed into wings. That's why chickens run and maneuver well, especially in a fight. Fierceness towards everything around, including humans, is another trait of the breed. But isn't it a diminished Tyrannosaurus? Bigfoot is another strange exception to what we know about chickens. The birds inhabit only Australia and the Pacific Islands. Due to their bright appearance, they are kept at home by exotic enthusiasts. They are called brush turkeys because they gather debris into large incubators where decomposition occurs. And in fact, this decomposition generates heat. They lay eggs in these incubators, not brooding them. The male tends to this nest, constantly monitoring the temperature. This scheme of creating a decomposing incubator to generate heat and incubate eggs of the adult brood. This is from the dinosaurs. They used such schemes. All birds, flying and non-flying, are descendants of dinosaurs. And it's not just about the external resemblance or behavioral traits. This is confirmed by numerous studies of physiology and the genetics of ancient fossils. All modern adaptations of birds for flight are actually adaptations of dinosaurs for their massive weight. It was recently discovered that monstrous dinosaurs actually didn't weigh as much as one might calculate from their size, because their bodies contained large air sacs that lightened their weight, and these air sacs transferred to birds. The same goes for bones. They had hollow bones. Like birds, dinosaurs were warm-blooded and had a four-chambered heart. It seems that even the skill of migration was inherited by birds from them. Judging by the findings of fossilized nests and tracks, ancient reptiles could migrate. Can we definitively say that birds are the only descendants of dinosaurs? Today, yes. Could there be exceptions to this theory? Who knows? It seems like everyone has long known what a Tyrannosaurus looked like. But in 2018, a team of American artists and paleontologists significantly changed the perception of it. Using the latest research data and high technology, the team created a new image of it. According to scientists, this is the most accurate depiction of the ancient predator to date. A plump, smooth-skinned creature with patterned brown skin still looks formidable, but not as brutal. And most importantly, there's no certainty that